Today I finally get around to one of my most requested tutorials, and after years of putting it off, I bring you the paper Dagger. It's simple, easy, and by far much less time consuming compared to my larger projects. For this you will need 67 or 110 pound cardstock. I recommend both, as you will see why later. A ruler, a pencil, liquid glue, hot glue, popsicle sticks, the small kind is preferable, and a craft knife. I have also made an optional printout of the Dagger that I will be making in this tutorial available for download. Check the description for the link. Start by taking 110 pound cardstock and fold it as shown. Spread glue over them and leave them under a book for 24 hours to dry. Make 6 of these. Next, we take the hardened paper and create the template for the Dagger as shown. Spread glue onto half the sheet and then glue the other half of the sheet to it. This creates a base that we can build off of. Repeat this again to one side, but this time we're going to cut off the excess. Save it, as that will go onto the other side. This creates the end pieces for the template. Repeat the process until you have 4 layers. Take note that I'm using whole sheets to bridge the gap where 2 sheets meet. This way the gaps won't become a weak spot. Once you have the template finished, trace the shape of the Dagger onto it. You can use the printout I provided, or you can design your own. Now it is just a matter of cutting it out. Score shallow lines first, then apply pressure. Don't try to cut all the way through in one pass, instead use several passes to get clean cuts. If the paper starts to tear, let the template dry for a few more hours and try again. You don't want to let it dry for too long, as it will become too difficult to cut. Keep in mind that the problem could also be your knife being too dull. Use more glue to seal off the edges to keep it from coming apart, as sharp tips and corners tend to feather or delaminate over time if you don't. When it comes to supports, I prefer to use popsicle sticks. For this, I am using the thin variety. Use hot glue to glue them into place as shown. Notice that I left the tip unsupported. This is to create a distal taper in the final product. It is purely an aesthetic thing. Now that you have the first side supported, repeat this step on the other side. With both sides supported, you will need to make one more sheet of hardened paper the same size of the ones you used to make the template. Except this time, you may want to use 67 pound paper for this build because of how little space there is from the supports to the edge of the Dagger. This will make gluing the panel to the template much easier. Cut the sheet air dry for half an hour. If it starts curving in one direction, the better, because that will make our job easier later. Take your pencil and trace the blade shape onto the sheet, making sure to make it slightly bigger than the blade. Once you have the panel cut out, use liquid glue to glue it in place. I use large binder clips and large popsicle sticks to clamp the panel onto the template. Once that is done, let it sit for about an hour, then cut off the extra paper coming from the panel before you start covering the other side. This is the excess paper I was talking about. You can go ahead, take your knife and trim that off, and then repeat the paneling process to the other side. Take a sheet of 67-pound paper and cut two 1.5-inch strips from it. These will be used to wrap the handle as shown. For this build, I left the handguard as is, but the decision to cover them will depend whether or not you have the supports on them. Notice that I cut tabs into the sides of the paper. This will make it easier to wrap paper around curves. Apply more glue to hold them down, then repeat the process to the other side. Trim down any extra paper and clean up a few glue seams and you're done. At this point you can use acrylic or spray paint to color your dagger. Or you could leave it white. That's always an option. Thanks for watching. Remember to leave a like if you liked the video, dislike if you disliked it. Feel free to leave a comment and subscribe if you haven't already if you want to see more stuff like this.